Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday. We made it to Christmas basically. Um the tournament is here. First of all, we have to shout out Xavier last night. That's how you set the tone for the tournament right there. Look completely dead in the first half. Ryan, yes, exactly. That's how you set the tone for things. That just set the tone for the entire tournament. If they would have just folded and lost, I'm not gonna lie, I would be pretty upset today. I would be questioning a little bit. It is Christmas morning, Jim, you're correct. But Xavier, that's how you set the tone. We're not gonna give up. We're gonna fight until the clock hits zero. Didn't even have they led like inside the first like 3 minutes, didn't lead again until 3 minutes, 2 minutes left in the game. Come back and they cover that 2.5. Just absolutely unbelievable performance. And I'm telling you, I think that team can make a run for us. I do. I think they can beat Illinois, who has been our nemesis all year. I just don't like the Illinois team, but we've been good betting on Illinois games, whether for them or against them. But I think Xavier's capable of making a run. I do. Um, they have Fremantle didn't play very good last night, but they have a good big man. They have good guard play. They can shoot well from three. We've got to keep Fremantle out of foul trouble, though, because that guy that comes in for him when he gets in foul trouble, Hoogler or whatever that guy's name is, we got to keep that guy off the floor. He hit a three. He hit a big three at the end of the game. But before that, I mean, it was bad. I mean, anytime he'd get the ball, he was trying to do too much. We got to keep him off the floor, and we got to keep Fremantle on the floor. But I think Xavier can make a run. Keaton, what's up? Oh, Keaton, yesterday you asked about a parlay for like Sweet 16 and stuff. Agree number 4. Yeah, Ryan, it was bad, dude. It was really bad. The first half he got blocked the first time, and then and then like towards the end of the game he did it again, and like it just threw up just a terrible shot. That we got to keep that guy off the floor. But Ryan, or not Ryan, Keaton, the parlay I made, I don't know if the odds have changed because I did this on like Sunday night or something. My first reaction to the bracket. I picked 5 teams to make the Sweet 16, and it was like $40 to win like 1,100, something around there. And I believe I picked St. John's, Arizona, Texas Tech, VCU, and Houston. I think it was those 5 teams. Houston, Texas Tech, St. John's, VCU, and Arizona. 5 teams to make the Sweet 16. I think it was $40 to pay 1,100. So if you want to follow along with that. We're going to look at today's games. Obviously, if you have last minute bracket questions, drop them in here. But we'll look at today's games and kind of walk through here. I already posted, when I posted Xavier yesterday, I already posted the bets that I like for today's games, but we can run through them. First game of the day, Creighton Louisville. It's just an insane game. I won't be betting on it. Definitely will be watching, though. Should be one of the best games of the first round, in my opinion. And just a great way to start the tournament off, I think. Struggling on a Tech versus St. John's matchup. Yeah, that would be a great game, Ryan. I'd probably, I don't know. I mean, if you're playing in a pool that's 200 or less people, I'd probably just pick St. John's. If it's over that amount and it's a bigger pool, I would pick Texas Tech, I think. That would be tough for me, Ryan, just because that's been 2 of my teams all year. So like pitting them against each other that would be hard. But first game of the day, I don't have a lean here. I think it's going to be a great game though. I mean, Louisville, I think, is the better team, and they're playing basically at home. They're playing in Kentucky. So, I'm sure they have advantages. Obviously, Vegas knows that. Spread's just 2.5. Should be a great game. High Point Purdue. This should be a great game, too. High scoring, 154.5 total. Purdue should be able to get whatever they want against High Point's defense. High Point's defense is very, very bad. At the same time, though, I don't trust this Purdue team outside of Braden Smith. I saw people on Twitter this week saying Kaufman Wren is better than Braden Smith. Like, I truly question if these people have ever watched basketball in their lives. Braden Smith is the best point guard basically in the country. I don't think Kaufman Wren is very good, to be quite honest with you. I think he played legitimately bad in the Big Ten tournament. So I don't really trust Purdue. A lot of people, I've seen betting High Point. I think they could be in the game. I have no idea. Should be fun though. High scoring game, 154.5 total. Montana, Wisconsin. So this was my upset pick for the day. We took Montana at plus 17.5, so it did move down a point in favor of us. Took them small sprinkle on the 12-1 money line. Wisconsin is, I told you guys yesterday, something just doesn't feel right to me about this Wisconsin team. And I'm not trying to be too biased towards recent times because this is not your typical, Wisconsin team. They're 13th overall in offense on KenPom. They really have never scored that well in recent seasons. So it's not your same Wisconsin team, but I still just don't trust them. I really don't. And I'm a little bit lower on the Big Ten, to be honest. I think Michigan State is a very good team. I think Maryland is above average, good team. And I think Michigan, depending on the day, could be a good team. Everyone else I don't trust in the Big Ten whatsoever, Wisconsin included. So, look, I feel like we will get an upset today. I don't know who it's going to be, but my pick, Montana, we'll roll the dice here. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but Money Williams can take over a game at any given moment, which is if you're betting on one of these small teams to win, typically they need someone to catch fire, and Money Williams can do that. So, and I just don't trust Wisconsin. So I like Montana plus 17.5 and the small sprinkle on the money line for my upset pick today. I also took Houston minus 28.5. It's been the same story for Houston. They just dominate these mid-majors and these small teams, just completely dominate. I think they're going to win by 35. I don't really ever lay numbers this big, so the fact that I'm going to tells you they just love to beat up on these bad teams. And they're getting Juwan Roberts back. I'm sure, they're not going to take their foot off the gas with it being a tournament game. So Houston minus 28.5 was a play for me as well. I'm not laying 31.5 there. I'm not going to lay 7.5, but I like Clemson moneyline as a parlay piece if you're doing any of those today. I thought it was very weird that it got announced that Will Wade's going to NC State before this game even happened. Even if, I think it was pretty clear he was probably going to leave to go to a bigger program, but I thought the timing of the announcement was very weird. I don't really know what to make of that. I don't know if that will affect the kids at all. Probably not, because like I said, it was pretty clear he was going to leave. I just thought the announcement was interesting. But I like this Clemson team, so I like them moneyline parlay piece if you guys are doing that. I do think Duke will come out, Mike, but Bama, so how I have this, I think the number one seeds, all four of them, there's a big gap between them and any other team in the country right now. The closest to them, though, is Alabama. If Alabama's fully healthy, they can win the title. No doubt about it. So if you're playing in a big pool, Mike, with a lot of people and you're not going to pick Duke to win the title, I would be fine, picking Bama to the Final Four. I don't have any issues with that. I think Alabama certainly could go to the Final Four. VCU, BYU, we have way too many futures on VCU, so I'm not going to bet them in this game, but this is the game I'm most excited for. I'm going to be dialed into this game at 4:05. I think it's a really good matchup for VCU, man. I do. I really think they can win this game. BYU loves to shoot threes. VCU defensively is good against the three-point shot. They're going to run you off the three-point line. I think they can make BYU uncomfortable, especially with how good VCU is at forcing turnovers. BYU has gotten sloppy at times and played themselves out of games with turnovers. I think that VCU can disrupt them, and I'm hoping for a big game, obviously, from Max Shulga. He can take over as well. But I think VCU wins this game. I think VCU is better than BYU in terms of being equipped for tournament play. So I know this is almost like a home game for BYU, and it's at altitude. It's gonna be uneasy early, but if VCU can weather the tide there to start, I think they can win that game. That's gonna be a big game for us. Georgia Gonzaga. I mean, everyone and their mom is on Gonzaga here. I think Georgia is kind of like, I didn't play it, but I would lean towards the Georgia side of this game. I think just keeping it close. Georgia's played a tough schedule this year in the SEC. They've played good teams close, and I don't know. I think they can be in this game. I'm not as obsessed with Gonzaga as everyone else. If you guys remember last year, no one was on Gonzaga, and I was. And they did make a run for us to the Sweet 16. Now it seems like they're pretty popular pick this year as the 8 seed. I don't really think it matters because both these teams I think are going to lose handily to Houston in the second round. But seeing a lot of Gonzaga love, I'm probably just going to avoid that. This is a lot of points for Tennessee to cover, in my opinion. I don't like to lay big numbers with Tennessee because they have limitations on offense. They can stall out on offense, and I just don't trust them to cover big numbers. So I do think Tennessee wins this game, but if I were going to bet a side of this, I'd probably bet Wofford plus 18.5 because I just don't trust Tennessee ever to cover a big spread, and I don't trust Rick Barnes in the tournament, and that's not going to change. I took Kansas minus 4.5 in this one. I jokingly said Illinois was our nemesis earlier. Kansas is actually, I think, our nemesis because I don't know if I've won a bet betting on Kansas this year. I think I'm like 0 for 3 when I bet on them or against them. I can't figure this team out. I don't really trust Arkansas, though, and not that I trust Kansas, but I think Kansas is better equipped here, and I did take them minus 4.5. I have this closer to Kansas by almost 6 points, so I took the 4.5, and I'm not really going to think twice about it. Yale and Texas A&M. Texas A&M is another team that we have heavy futures plays on, so I'm not going to be betting them in this game. Yale's been a trendy upset pick or, Cinderella pick because of what they did to Auburn last year. I'm kind of hesitant to go back to that well. First and foremost, they had Danny Wolf last year, which is a big deal. Even though they're still a good team, they still made the tournament. They're still an extremely good, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country. Not having what was your best player last year is a factor for me, especially when it's a big man. At the same time, look, Bruce Pearl has choked in the tournament a number of times recently. It took a lot of things to go right for Yale to win that game. People forget Baker Mazzara got ejected very early on in that game. Auburn was still winning late and just completely choked it away. I don't think Texas A&M is going to do that. Yes, they have limitations on offense, but I don't know. I like Texas A&M. I think they're going to win this game, and I'm not worried about it, to be honest with you. But I have seen a lot of love for Yale, which I think is interesting. St. John's, Arizona, Texas Tech, VCU, Houston. Yes, Keaton, I believe that was the parlay that I made. Drake in Missouri, another popular underdog here. Drake, I would lean more towards the Missouri side. Again, played a very, very tough schedule this year. Drake's very good mid-major, but I think people are kind of discounting Missouri here, to be quite honest with you. I would lean towards them. Haven't played anything there. But I'm not really buying Drake as kind of a trendy underdog there. Utah State, UCLA. I don't think I'm gonna bet this, but this is an underdog I would buy into, Utah State. Again, the MWC struggles in the tournament all the time, so that is concerning, but UCLA were home court merchants this year, really took advantage of, joining the Big Ten and these teams having to travel to them for home games. They were very good at home. They struggled on the road. I mean, if we just pull up their schedule. I mean, we bet against this team in the Big Ten tournament because of that exact reason, and that worked out. Overall, on neutrals, they were okay, like non-con and stuff. They did lose to New Mexico in non-con, lost to North Carolina. They beat Gonzaga, but that was before Gonzaga really started playing well. Once we get into Big Ten play, though, at Nebraska, loss. Home against Michigan, loss. 2 more away losses to Maryland and Rutgers. 2 home wins. Iowa and Wisconsin, they won at home. They beat Oregon, Michigan State, and Penn State all at home, lost to Illinois on the road, lost to Purdue on the road. I don't know. I don't really trust them, to be quite honest with you. So I do think they could lose. But if they were playing any other team, this would be probably a pretty big bet for me. But I don't trust Utah State in the MWC either. So I'm just staying away from this game. I don't trust either side there. Got a little risky with A&M in the Final Four. I don't hate that, Ryan. I think I have a small play on that as well. I mean, they can beat if they get the matchup versus Auburn in the Sweet 16. We know they can beat Auburn. They just did. It was a home game, but we know they can compete with Auburn, and they stylistically match up well, I think, with how good they are rebounding. And I don't honestly know who they'll play coming out of the bottom of that bracket. They could play Iowa State. They could play Michigan State. They could play Marquette. I have no idea who they're going to play. Mike, I think Ole Miss is a very, very good team. So obviously they have Chris Beard as coach, who took Texas Tech to the Final Four back in 2019, and then took the Texas job, got suspended for his off the court issues. So they're very, very well coached. They are a very old team. I think they have 7 or 8 seniors on their team, and they don't really rely on one player. Sean Padula, who you'll know, has been around for a while, very, very experienced point guard that used to play for Virginia Tech the last 3 years. So they have him obviously at point guard, but they don't overly really rely on one player. If we look at their team stats, let me pull it up here. They have a number of guys that average 10 or more points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 6 players that average over 10 points. So they don't really rely on one player, but Sean Padula is kind of their go-to guy. And obviously we like good guard play. In March, they have 2 good big men as well. I think they're a really good team. I like kind of the experience and the coaching there. I think them versus North Carolina is like a really good game. I was pretty surprised that North Carolina's favored in that one, though. I thought that was a little bit of an overreaction. Yeah, Jim, we'll talk Survivor Pool one sec here. Let's finish out these games. St. John's and Nebraska Omaha. Yeah, I mean, St. John's, they struggle to score at times, but they should have no problems winning the game. Maybe they start a little slow if their shot's not falling. I don't know. This Michigan UC San Diego, this is the one I'm closest to adding as a play, and it would probably be on Michigan. Again, I know this is like a toss-up game, but I just don't know if UC San Diego can handle the height of Michigan. They're very short. Michigan with the 2 7-footers, I think, is a big advantage. And it seems like Michigan's getting hot at the right time too, running through. I don't really think anyone expected Michigan to win the Big Ten tournament, and they did. So I may add Michigan later on. I might sit it out. We'll see. Texas Tech should have no problems with UNC Wilmington, and then that wraps out Thursday. So overall, if you saw my post yesterday, we have Houston minus 28.5. We have Montana plus 17.5 and a sprinkle on the money line. And then we have Kansas minus 4.5. Those are my bets for today. I may add some stuff later on in the afternoon. Like we'll see kind of what goes on. For survivor pools for today, if you guys are playing in those, I'm thinking St. John's, I think, is a good pick. I like to be safe early on. I want to advance in these pools, but I kind of want to stay away from teams that I do think have a chance to win the title. As much as I love Rick Pitino and St. John's, I don't think they could win the title ultimately just because of their limitations on offense. So St. John's is the exact type of team I would like to use early because I don't think they could get to, the Final Four even, honestly, with the struggles on offense, even though they're very good and very well coached. So St. John's is someone I'm interested in using today, Jim. Tennessee, I really don't trust them, but that's the type of team. I don't really think they can go win the title, but they're a big favorite. Or Clemson, I think you could use if you want to get a little bit, more risky, because we're talking about, St. John's is 18.5 point favorites or whatever. Yeah, and then Clemson's 7.5. So we're definitely taking on some risk if you want to go Clemson. But for me, I think St. John's or Clemson would be my two favorite survivor picks for day one. And I'm probably going to use St. John's on my main one just because they're in the toughest region, so I don't even want to deal with some of these potential matchups down the road anyways, like having to play Texas Tech or a Florida or whatever whenever we cross that road. So I'll use St. John's or Clemson today on mine, I think, Jim. Had him on some Prize Pick slips. Yeah, he's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, go ahead. I'll be live tomorrow, and we'll look at tomorrow's lines. I will be live Saturday and Sunday as well. So full weekend of streams here with the tournament going on. We'll have lots to dissect. I can't believe North Carolina is favored tomorrow. This is crazy to me. I'm going to be playing Ole Miss tomorrow. I can tell you that. Moneyline parlay. Yeah, I like Clemson. Maybe like a Clemson. I don't really want to double down on Kansas, though, so we're not going to do that. Let's look at tomorrow. We could do Clemson, Maryland is a good moneyline parlay piece. Don't even hate Marquette. That'd be plus 132. Arizona, Marquette. Plus 150. I might put this in. I might put like 2 units on this. Clemson, Maryland, Arizona, Marquette, moneyline parlay. So that gives us 1 leg today, 3 legs tomorrow. So we'll just see if Clemson can get us to Friday, I guess, on this one. Marquette, man. I hate that team. If it comes down to like Marquette winning, Cinderella. I mean, I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know what you consider it. VCU is my one pick of like a double-digit seed. I think can go far. Xavier too. We have futures bets on them. VCU and Xavier, I think, for double-digit seeds that could make a deep run. I think Xavier might be team of destiny after last night, man. I mean, they were literally dead in the water and rallied back. I don't know how much of that was on them versus Texas coaching just not being good, but at the same time, sometimes that's what it takes. So I think Xavier might have a little magic to him. And I hate Sean Miller. So that there is no bias in this pick whatsoever. I hate Sean Miller, but we're gonna have to root for him this year. Louisville, Montana plus 17, Houston to cover, Kansas, Michigan, 13-1. I don't hate that. If I were gonna do that though, Keaton, I'd probably alt Montana up even more just to be safe. Like if I'm parlaying it with a bunch of stuff. Like, I'd rather pay 10-1 instead of 13-1 and get a little bit of extra protection, I think. It's probably what I would do. But all right, overall, we're about 40 minutes away from the start of this thing. Good luck in your bracket pools. Good luck with your bets today. If I add anything betting wise, I'll tweet it out. We'll kind of see how the early window goes here and go on from there. But good luck today. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.